Okay, welcome everybody. We're going to be doing a symmetrical design project today, and I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do this. Option 1, you can choose to do a sugar skull. What you need to do is first open up Photoshop, make a new document, and make it 8 inches by 10 inches and with a 300 resolution, then hit create. Alright, so after you do that, you might want to unlock your layer and then go to image, new layer, and then type in drawing layer because you're going to be drawing on this layer, and then turn off your underneath layer if you want to. You don't have to though. And then using your brush, I'm just going to show you what this is going to be like. I don't want you to do this, but you're going to choose your brush, go up to the options bar, and you're going to make your brush really small with the hardness set at 100%. So you can see mine's really small brush. And you're going to go over here on your options bar, you click on that little butterfly, and you can see all these options to choose from. You want to choose vertical for the sugar skull. So I'm going to select vertical, and you'll see this line pop up. You don't need to mess with that line at all. You don't need to do that, but go back to your brush tool, and then I want to show you how this works. You just click on one side and you can see it totally matches on the other. So it's a pretty cool mirroring trick. And here you can see I'm just gonna kind of mess around with it a little bit and scribble, and you'll see what it does. It does cool little stuff like that. Yay. But we're not gonna be doing that. I'm just showing you what it looks like. So I'm gonna eventually erase all this, but it's just kind of fun to see that. It's almost like a etch-a-sketch that's working, at the same time. But anyways, I'm going to erase all this. I don't want you to do this yet, so I'm just going to erase all this. So the next step you need to do is find a sugar skull on Google Images. Make sure it's a large image. Find a skull that you like, that speaks to you, and just copy it, and then go back to Photoshop, edit, paste. Now chances are it's going to paste right into your drawing layer. That's fine, you'll have to make a new layer. So I'm going to edit, free transform this, make it nice and big on your composition, hit enter, and then if that happened, just go layer, new layer, and then hit OK. We'll maybe type that in as drawing layer. Now if you grab your brush and you start trying to outline the outside, you can see if I turn off my layer 1, you'll see, okay, I missed a couple spots, so I'm gonna try this again, edit, undo, and then maybe choose a bigger brush for the outside. Try to match the same thickness. And it's okay for a little bit off. See how I'm not exactly conforming to the same parameters of the skull. And then I'll try to meet in the middle and then turn that off. See what that looks like. Okay, this looks way better. Alright, now I'm going to turn that back on, and I'm going to trace around one of the eyes like so. Again, I don't want it to be perfect because it's supposed to be a little bit different. I don't want you guys plagiarizing work. And then I'll do the nose hole, and I'll do the teeth. And you can't really see what I'm doing because the sugar skull is on, but if you pay attention, you'll see that I'm just doing each individual tooth. And then I'm going to turn that off, see what that looks like. Okay, and then I'll continue with the middle part. Again, doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be totally symmetrical no matter what you do on the other side. So you can see I'm a little bit off over there. That's just because it's the sugar skull that I copied doesn't appear to be symmetrical, but mine is. You see that? Okay, so now I really don't need that sugar skull layer anymore, so I'm going to leave that off. And this is where you want to turn your brush down and make your brush way smaller. I'm going to zoom in here so I can see the the stuff better. Apparently I'm grabbing my eraser, and you can actually erase too. Oops, looks like I have it set on opacity. Now I sped it up, but you can see I'm used a way smaller brush, and I'm just working on one side, and I'm adding all this intricate detail. If you look at sugar skulls, you'll see that they each look different. I don't want you copying somebody else's. Now you'll see that I put the word mom there. That's because my mom has passed away, and usually sugar skulls are for that purpose. So you see it looks, I filled up almost every spot on this, so now it's time to color it in. So first I think I'm going to get a background to put behind it, just so I can get that out of the way. So I will look up maybe a smoke colored background. I don't know. It doesn't have to be smoke colored background. Be whatever you want. Hopefully it's something that kind of goes with the theme. I just want a dynamic background where it kind of stands out. I kind of like some of these are okay. So once you find one you like, it's copy it, and then you can go back to Photoshop, and you're going to edit, paste. It's going to be right on top. Just edit, free transform. Don't worry about where it is. I can even rotate it if it's easier that way. And I will stretch this out so it fits. To stretch it out without it being in proportion, you have to hold down the shift key. So make it nice and big, and then I'm just going to drag it all the way on the bottom. Now I'm going to go back up to the layer where I did all my work, and I'm going to get the paint bucket tool and choose colors to color in your sugar skull. This is ridiculously easy. It shouldn't take you that long to color it in. And you can see I'm messing around with the magic wand tool. You really don't need the magic wand tool. Just grab the paint bucket tool and color in the spots that you need to color in. And I want this to be, pretty nice looking. So you guys should know how to change colors. It's basically you're coloring in the sugar skull, and you can see how you change the colors over here. And to get the exact color, you can use the paint dropper. And you can see I'm coloring in fast, just so you don't have to sit through all this. But you can zoom in to get all the little spots, and if you use a magic wand tool, you can actually select a spot, and using the brush tool, it'll actually do the other side just like I did. So you want to color it in nice and neat, get all those white spaces fixed. You can see that I actually had to erase something to fit the colors in there. And then once you get completely done coloring it in, you can mess around with filters if you want. I really like the lens flare. Looks like I'm on the wrong filter or long layer, so I gotta go back up to that layer. But I kind of like messing around with the filters a little bit. Filter, render, lens flare, and you can put it on the eye and see how if you move up the brightness, it kind of adds a cool little reflection. And if you want to do the other side, you just go to filter, render, lens flare again, and then just move that plus over to the other side. You can move it wherever you want, and then hit OK. Now you definitely need to put your signature on, because a lot of people do not put their signature on their work. So that's a major part of your grade. If you want to add some blending options too to your skull, I'm always for that. So you can mess around with outer glow or drop shadow or any of that. So feel free to experiment with those. You probably don't want to use color overlay or grading overlay. And if you don't have your signature, just click on the T and type it in. You find a font that you like and put it in there. And again, if you want to change the blending options on it, that's fine. That'll work. And then when you get totally done, file, save it as a JPEG. Save it somewhere where you know where it is. I would save it as sugar skull or mandala skull, whatever. Hit save, hit OK, and then you are going to go to Google Classroom to submit it. Go right up here to add a create, go to File, click on Browse, and then find your skull, open it up, and then turn it in. It's that easy. That's one option that you can do. Alright, so the second option is a symmetrical portrait, which is really similar to the sugar skull, except you can do a person or an animal. And lately I've been on a lion kick, so I'm just going to do a lion because I just think they have beautiful faces as far as symmetry. And you want to get a portrait that is really facing the camera, head on. You don't want a 3/4 view. You have to make sure it's, dead on. So once you copy it, actually make a new document. You want to make a new document, and it's going to be the same thing. You probably want it to be 10 by 8, and you want to make the resolution 300. Hit create, and then edit, paste. Yeah, you definitely want to make that document before you paste it. And then edit free transform to stretch it so it fits on the canvas. Now notice I'm going out past the boundary markers, and if you move it around, you can see the guideline, that little pink guideline that will show up in the middle, like right there. You see that? You want to kind of split the portrait right in the middle, hopefully. Alright, then you're going to make a new layer, new layer, and you can type in drawing layer if you want. Hit OK, and then go to your brush tool. Your brush tool, there we go, and then change your color to black. Make sure it's black, and you go up to your options bar. It's got to be the brush tool. Go up to your options bar. Make your brush kind of small. It's got to be, I would say, somewhere under 10, and make sure your hardness is at 100. Now what you're going to do is, you don't need to click what I clicked on there, but you do need to click on that butterfly and choose vertical. And then I'm going to zoom in on the eye and just go over the eye, and you'll notice as I outline on one side, it kind of does it on the other for you. You want to outline as much as you can, and this is where you kind of want to use your creativity to really break this down into chunks, design work, that is. Kind of go with the way the hair is going. You want to, the more stuff you add, the better. Now you can see I added the little whiskers there, and once I get done with it, I don't even want to turn on the lion layer anymore. I just want to draw and create all these unique segments as I draw. I'm only drawing on one side, remember this. It looks like I'm drawing both sides at the same time, but I'm really only drawing on one side, and it does the other side for me. So what you want to do is fill up your entire paper with these kind of, designs. And look, I'm just on one side, and it automatically does the other side. You want to break it up into nice, sections like this. So when you get totally done, you are ready to color it in. Now you could save this as a JPEG and, color it in with colored pencils if you want. But we're not going to do that. So I'm going to turn on the lion layer now that we're ready to color it in, and you get the paint bucket tool, and as you color, you can actually click on the color picker to try to get the color underneath, because you kind of want to match the color underneath. So if I click on the paint bucket tool, and I still got that white, what I like to do is oops, if you mess up, just edit undo. It's, no problem, or Control Z. I like to see how I just moved it up a little bit. I made it a little bit lighter, and then I'll go back to that and I'll make it even lighter. See how I move it up? So it's a gradation from that darker tan to that lighter tan, and it just kind of adds a nice depth to it. And I'm constantly turning on my reference lion layer to get the colors that I need for that. And I don't really like using straight black. I like to have black with a little bit of purple or blue in it, because I just think it adds a little bit more color. So I'm coloring in these dark parts, and I'm constantly turning on and turning off my line layer. And now I want to, you kind of just want to match the colors that's underneath it. And if it's okay if it's changes from one to the other, it's fine. Now you want to color in the entire thing, and you don't have to stick to a certain color scheme if you don't want to. You can make whatever colors you want, but if you want it to look somewhat realistic, you'll use this method of dropping your colors, seeing what colors underneath. You can see I took some liberties with some of those colors. Obviously there's no purple down there at the bottom, and I'm changing the background to like a blue, just so it kind of looks like sky or something. So when you get done, you want to go to File, Save As, save it, but you make sure you put your signature in. You'll see that I already typed my signature in the bottom. Make sure you put your signature in, and then save it as a JPEG. I'm saving this as Mandala, portrait, whatever. Hit OK after you save it as a JPEG. You're going to go to Add or Create, choose File, hit Browse, open up your project, and then submit it. That's how you do the symmetrical portrait. Obviously you want to turn it in. Now the option 3 is just a regular mandala, and I think this is probably the easiest one. So you want to create new, make it 8 by 8 inches. If you want to change the name to mandala, that's fine as well. That kind of helps you when it comes to saving mandala your name. 88300. I would change the background to black. Did you see where it said background option? You can always make it white or black, but me, I kind of like it black. And then layer, new layer, and then this is going to be your drawing layer. Hit OK. And I'm going to choose a white brush. Now if you have a white background, that's fine, but I'm choosing a black background. And you want to go to your brush tool, make it kind of small, and then you're going to go over to mandala over there where the butterfly is, and you want to move this segment to 8. Hit OK, and then you want to zoom in the middle somewhere. You can't see the lines anymore, but trust me, they're there. You click on brush tool and you'll see it. Now what you do is, I like to start in the middle, and if you work really slow like this and connect it, just work really slow, you can create really intricate, beautiful mandala work. Now my brush is really small, and my brush is at 100% hardness. Now I like to stay zoomed in while I do this, and you can see that you can even do dots and stuff, and color in stuff, and erase stuff, and it'll do it on all the other segments at the same time. Now you want to fill in this entire composition, and you'll see how detailed I get. I want these to be detailed. I don't want it to be a bunch of scribble scrabble. And I like I said, I think it helps when you're zoomed in, because you can really focus and not get overwhelmed with all the other stuff. And you can see I'm trying to reach to the edge of the composition, so I just keep adding and adding all these little these lines. So once you get it to like where it looks like it fills up most of the page like this, then you're ready to color or to experiment with the colors. Now I'm saving it. I don't know why. I don't need to save it, not at this step, but just in case you're not done with this part. Then you want to go to blending options. You right click on that layer, go to blending options, and you'll see this layer style pop up. You want to go to gradient overlay. You want to click on the word gradient overlay, not the box, so you can see all the options pop up. And you'll see over here this bar, this colored bar. You need to change that to radial, and then click on the color bar to bring up all these options of different gradients to use. Now say you like this one, you can just click OK. But if you want to change the color, you got to click on that bar and then you double click on those little stoppers down there, and then you can just change the color. And you can see it change the color to the outside. Now if you want to add more, obviously I'm trying to add more, but I forgot to click OK. I'll figure it out here in a second because I'm a big dumb animal. Look at me, I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, there you go. Okay, now if you want to add a different color, you just click right there and it adds another stopper. Now you can double click on that and change it to a different color. Now if you like it, hit OK. You can also do this. You can move the stoppers like that and it'll change it. And I accidentally created a new stopper. So if that happens, okay, just change it to a different color. You should really try to experiment with each one. And then save it when you get to where you like it. Save it as a JPEG. And I'll save this as 1. You want to save it as 1 because you're going to be making 4 different ones. Now you can make a totally different mandala, which is fine with me, or you can use this one and just do a different gradient, which is probably the easiest way and probably what everybody else will do. You can also mess with blending options. You saw I was messing around with the outer glow. So experiment with the gradient editor. You can see me, constantly adjusting all these little stops. Once you get it where you like it, file, save as JPEG 2. You're going to save it JPEG 3. Make sure they all look different. Now when you get done, you're going to create a new document. And it's going to be 16 inches by 16 inches with 300 resolution, create. And then you're going to go to File, open up all 4 at the same time. Now they're going to open up on top of each other. Just go to Window, Arrange, Float all in Windows, and then just use the Move tool to kind of move them so you can see them. And then you're just going to move in one at a time. Now I'm going to turn off my background layer so I can see what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to move in all 4, close them when I don't need them, move it in, close it, move it in, close it. Now I'm going to add my signature. If you don't have a signature, just type it in. I don't care. Choose a font that you like. I think, choose a font that you can see. And if you don't see it, see I typed in black. That's fine because you can always go to blending options or make your, type white. But don't even need to do that. Just go to blending options and maybe put a different gradient on it that you like, and maybe change it to linear. Find something that kind of stands out, or maybe you want it not so bold. So you can always, I got it right there. Move it to the bottom somewhere, please. I always like bottom right. That's just me. So, right over there. And if it stands out too much, you can always turn down the opacity on it or something else. But I'm going to save this as a JPEG if you like it. And this is your finished mandala. So save it as finished mandala, and then your name. Hit save. Make sure it's a JPEG. Hit OK. And then you're going to go to Google Classroom. Find the project, new assignment, add or create, file, browse, find your 4 pictures, hit open, and that's it. Turn it in. Hopefully you learned something today about the symmetry function in Photoshop. Hopefully you created something that you like. As always, where your focus goes, your energy flows. So have a good one, everybody.